I get angry just thinking about it makes me mad. Little kids doing drugs, it turns my stomach. It hurts the user. It hurts his family. And it hurts his friends. I just want to shake some sense into you kids that are using drugs and thinking about using it. So remember, don't, or else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hi, I'm Brianna.
And I'm Akira.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Vada is clearly responding to everything that's going on with the Canelo camp, with the Reynoso camp, and Oscar Valdez being the latest from that camp, testing positive for a PED. Now, it's just so funny because, of course, Canelo fans, they all tried to stick behind Oscar Valdez and say, oh, no, but it wasn't a PED. You know, it was a weight loss drug. It was a diuretic. It wasn't a PED, right? Vada comes out and completely confirms that it was an actual PED. And this is Vada talking. It's not just some random person talking on the internet, right? Vada said this. They said stimulants and weight loss drugs are a danger and performance enhancing both in and out of competitions. Hashtag boxing, hashtag MMA, hashtag clean sport, hashtag safety first. And Victor Conti came out and he said there is no herbal teas in the world that include any ingredients of the drug that Oscar Valdez tested positive for, which is phentermine. Now, let me first start by saying this. It never ceases to amaze me to see how far Canelo Alvarez fans are willing to go to defend this man. I mean, we have seen Canelo fans throw so many people under the bus. I'm talking about people that they used to defend before. But now, because Canelo or Canelo's team is catching fire, these fans are willing to sacrifice almost every piece on the board when it comes to Team Canelo. Perfect example. Do you guys remember when Floyd Mayweather, who is really the one who kind of pioneered Olympic-style random drug testing, when Manny Pacquiao turned down the highest payday of his career because he didn't want to do random testing, right? It was Floyd that implemented this. Floyd agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's demands in the contract, which Manny Pacquiao had his demands. But Manny Pacquiao would not agree to that one demand of random drug testing. Now, the funny thing is, when Floyd was doing his random drug testing for every fight, he was doing it through USADA. And I remember, and I'm sure some of you guys probably remember too, because Floyd was doing USADA, everyone was trying to trash USADA, saying, oh, you know, USADA is not real testing. Vada is where it's at, right? Vada is the real testing. I mean, from decafs on the internet to Jim Lampley of HBO, they were all trying to berate USADA just to make Vada look better. But now that Vada has came out and pretty much reacted to Team Canelo, the Team Canelo scandal, I should say, where almost everyone that Reynoso has worked with has tested positive for PEDs, now the Canelo fans, they want to turn on Vada and start throwing them under the bus. I'm seeing comments on the internet like Vada is full of it, they charge too much for their testing, saying things like, no wonder people don't want to be tested. But these fools don't realize that when they were defending Vada over USADA, people were still paying for testing. Man, it's pretty funny because one of you guys has said on my last Vada video, the Canelo fans are going to come out and say, who did Vada beat? Who have they fought? Now, that was hilarious because this is exactly what Canelo Alvarez fans do. When a fighter wants to fight Canelo Alvarez, the first thing they say is, who has he fought? All of a sudden, he instantly becomes the biggest bum in the sport of boxing just because he wants to fight Canelo. Meanwhile, they never call fighters like Abney Yildirim or Rocky Fielding or BJ Saunders. They never call any of these guys bums. We know what time it is. And apparently, so does Vada. Once again, going back to some of the fans trying to deflect and focus more on how much it costs for Vada testing. If you care so much about how much the Vada testing fees are, how come you've never said anything about the sanctioning fees? When it comes to how much the fighters have to pay just to keep their championship belts. I mean, it's like you win these championship belts, but then you got to pay rent on the belts. Almost like you pay rent or mortgage on a house every month. But the problem has never been about how much it costs to be tested. The problem has always been so many fighters testing positive for PEDs when they are being tested. That's the problem we're having in the sport of boxing today. We know that when Manny Pacquiao turned down testing, he wasn't worried about the fee. He was worried about taking the test, period, because he didn't want to take the test. In fact, if it was up to Pacquiao, he would have actually paid money to not have to take the test. Look, at the end of the day, I really commend Vada for speaking on this situation. You know, I said a couple videos ago, we need more people with platforms to start speaking against the corruption in boxing, to put more pressure on everyone in this sport to do the right thing and clean the sport up. Maybe one day the sport won't be considered the wild west of sports, and it'll be looked at like a real sport, like a real league sport, football, basketball, baseball, etc. That's what we're aiming for. But the first thing we got to do is make sure that fighters are protected health-wise. So with that being said, I'm gonna leave you guys with this video that Vada did, which is extremely informative when it comes to doping and drug testing. And in fact, they also have their spokesperson on the video, Andre Ward. Andre Ward is speaking on drugs. And it's interesting because this video was done about 8 months ago, and Ward is talking a lot about fighters that blow up in weight and try to rush to lose all the weight when they have a fight coming up, which is pretty much why people like Oscar Valdez and others, they end up using weight loss PEDs. But Andre Ward, he did a great job delving into it. Now, one more last thing I want to say about the fans that once again try to defend a fighter because it's a weight loss drug. Listen, I would ask a fan like that a couple simple questions. Like, well, why did he have to take it? And if I say, why did he have to take it? Then you're going to most likely say, oh, because he wanted to lose weight. And then I would say, well, isn't that what training is for? I mean, his opponent is most likely trying to get down in weight as well. How come he can't just do it naturally? And that is the exact reason why it is called an enhancer. It's giving you the ability to do something that you weren't able to do naturally. I've said this on all my videos about this whole Canelo team situation. Any drug, any banned drug that you need to take because you can't get the results you're looking for without this drug, that is exactly what you call a performance enhancing drug. Now let me go ahead and play this video for you guys. Check it out.
Welcome to Vada. Congratulations on your personal commitment to clean sport and fairness. Vada, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, was created because there was little consistency in professional combat sports and inadequate testing for performance-enhancing drugs. Vada was created for fighters. We're not here to catch you. We're here to educate and support your boxing career. Vada's board has over 100 years of combined experience in combat sports and anti-doping. Our board includes medical professionals, former commission members, and anti-doping experts whose goal is to help fighters. In this short video, you'll learn what Vada can do for you and your career, plus your part in making the program work for you. It's your body, your health, your career. As a part of Vada, you have access to valuable tools and information that will benefit your career as well as your overall health. Listen to Olympic gold medalist, former world champion, former Vada participant, and boxing television analyst Andre Ward discuss staying in shape between fights.
What's up, everybody? Andre SOG Ward here, and I want to talk about a fighter's weight cut and how a fighter's living his life in between fights. You know, it's a lot of information out there that fighters live by. It's things that, you know, bad habits that fighters have brought from the amateurs into the pro game, and we don't talk about this enough, and how dangerous that is for a fighter. And it may not catch up to you right away, but eventually when you least need it, you know, those drastic weight cuts of 15, 20, 25 pounds, that stuff's gonna catch up with you. So this is what I would say. Everybody's body is different. So my goal was to stay within anywhere between 10 and 12 pounds in between my fight weight. I knew that's what fit my body. I knew that 10 or 12 pounds was hard to get off, especially the last 2 weeks, but it wasn't gonna kill me. And I was able to focus on game plan. I was able to focus on strategy and not just focus on losing weight in training camp. Some guys like, you know, Tim Bradley, I talked to Tim. Tim said he got off 15 to 20. That's how his body was made. That's the way, that's his physical makeup. So you got to know you. You know if you're eating crazy, living crazy, and ballooning up 10 or 15 beyond what you should balloon up to in between fights. And you got to stay focused on that. And I just want to encourage y'all to live the life of a fighter. What does that mean? That means that you can have fun, you can enjoy yourself for a week, 2 weeks after the fight, but at some point you got to start reeling it in, not just when the phone rings, not just when you sign the fight, but live the life of a fighter. Eat good even when you don't have a fight coming up. You ain't got to be perfect, but eat good where you keep your weight to a certain point. So when you get to training camp, y'all can focus on strategy, you can focus on game planning, and then the weight comes off the right way. So when you get into a tough fight, and at some point you will, you're not drained and you're not dead, and the weight cut won't be the reason why you don't come out on top. So live the life of a fighter, man.
One of the primary services Vada provides is unannounced random testing. Your Vada membership is a firm statement that you are committed to clean fighting and don't fear being tested. Many experienced fighters have never been tested for performance-enhancing drugs, and if you have, whether post-championship fight, as an amateur in the Olympic program, or some other instance, it's doubtful the testing was as extensive as Vada's. In Vada, athletes are eligible to be tested 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This could be at your gym, your home, or anywhere else you might be. Sometimes you'll receive a call before a Vada testing representative arrives, but they don't always call first. They may simply show up at the places listed on the whereabouts form or Vada app. Because Vada's random testing is unannounced, testers must be able to locate you within an hour of their first contact attempt. To make sure this happens, Vada requires a few important things from fighters. First, you must completely fill out the Vada application. In the Vada application, you provide detailed information about where you live, where you train, and information for key contacts. Key contacts include your trainer, partner, promoter, and manager. Second, you need to complete the whereabouts form to give Vada as much advance notice as possible when you travel. This form tells Vada where you are traveling and staying. You'll need to complete these forms on the Vada website. After that, if you have any changes in travel plans, you can update your whereabouts form on the Vada app, which is available on Apple and Android devices, or you can email Margaret Goodman directly at margaret@vada-testing.org. Finally, keep your cell phone handy at all times so you don't miss a Vada call. If we can't locate you within an hour of the first attempt to contact, it will be recorded as a missed test. Missed tests will be reported, and fighters are subject to potential sanctions and removal from the Vada program. This rigor is part of what makes a Vada athlete so respected within his or her sport. You will need to provide Vada with a list of any medication or supplements you're taking or plan to take. Check the supplements against Vada's prohibited substance list to make sure you aren't accidentally taking a banned substance. Beware, however, that many positive tests are caused by supplements that don't actually list the prohibited substance on the label. Vada annually publishes a list of prohibited substances and methods each year. This list varies from the World Anti-Doping Agency's list in two important ways. First, unless requested by your commission, Vada has no out-of-competition list. Under Vada, you are eligible to be tested for anything on our prohibited list. That includes stimulants and narcotics at any time, not just during competition. Second, Vada does not test for cannabinoids, marijuana, or THC unless requested by the commission where you'll be competing. As a fighter, you have to take responsibility for what goes in your body. Do you know all of the ingredients and the substances you take? Take a moment to consider the medications and supplements you take that you will need to disclose to Vada. Remember, it's your body, your health, your career. On the Vada website, you can watch a short tutorial on doping control testing. A certified Cleridium doping control officer and blood collection officer will go through a blood and urine sample collection according to the international standard for testing. Here's the video link for reference. There are times as an athlete that you'll be under the care of a physician. Make sure that your doctor checks the Vada prohibited list in advance of prescribing medication or treatment. If there's a necessary medication or treatment that's prohibited, then you must submit a therapeutic use exemption, or TUE, request form in advance of treatment. The form is available on the Vada website at vada-testing.org. Your request is reviewed by an independent physician to determine whether the requested treatment is necessary or if there are non-prohibited alternatives. As the review can take weeks, it is important that you submit this request as early as possible. If you require emergency medical care, Vada may excuse a prohibited treatment or method, but we require a copy of the medical documentation. After a test, you might be thinking, where do the results go? Your results will typically go to you, your representatives, the commission in which you're competing, the Association of Boxing Commissions, or ABC, BoxRec, the official record keeper of the ABC, the WBC if you are enrolled in the Clean Boxing program, your promoter, and the sanctioning body if you're competing in a title fight. If your enrollment was for testing leading up to a bout, the results would also go to your opponent's promoter. Vada does not publicly report results and never discusses your results with the media. If you receive an adverse result, you'll get an email with the test results, the doping control form from the day you tested, and the actual laboratory report. Contact Vada if you would like the B sample tested at your expense. Vada does not adjudicate results. That will be up to the commission where you hold a license or the sanctioning body where you hold a title. Vada knows that all fighters use supplements and vitamins. You are responsible for anything you take. Remember, it's your body, your health, and your career. Vada gives you the chance to find out the risk of your supplements and the manufacturer. Go to dfsaccess.com and select the Vada logo. Use the passcode VADA12. As a Vada fighter, you can have your supplements tested and certified. If interested, contact Vada at info@vada-testing.org or margaret@vada-testing.org. Listen again to former world champion Andre Ward discuss staying clean.
What's up, everybody? Andre SOG Ward here. You know, my first video I talked about weight cut and how, we need to live a life of a fighter in between fights, and I focus more on the food. But I'm gonna talk about something else that fighters, even though we don't talk about it a lot, tend to put in their body, and that's sometimes drugs and alcohol. It's a lot for our bodies and our brains to have to deal with the trauma that we go through in sparring and in a real fight. It's not a natural thing for our bodies and our brains to get hit. And what makes it worse is when we drink and also when we use drugs. People don't realize that fighters do that, but I know fighters do that. But this is something that, again, some people may get away with when you're young. You may party a lot. You may put things in your body that you're not supposed to, and you get away with it. You may win certain fights like that, and you start to believe that, oh, this is a lifestyle and this is okay. It's really not, because when you get into that tough spot and into that tough moment in a fight, especially with a guy who doesn't live that kind of lifestyle, is going to catch up with you when you least need it. And I'm gonna give you one more bit of advice. When fighters start to get older, and then when you eventually retire, it's not easy. That's why we see a lot of fighters punchy, and we see a lot of fighters lost outside of the sport. Yes, it has to do with the trauma and the hard fights, but a lot of it has to do with drugs and alcohol. Because for a competitive person, for a fighter specifically, you're looking to replace that high that you had in the sport of boxing. The euphoria of being, people talking about you, fans screaming your name. All of a sudden, when you retire, that's gone. And what happens is, if you drank while you was an active fighter, now you bring those same bad habits into your lifestyle when you're a retired fighter, and instead of going to a fight and getting that fix, so to speak, now you reach for the bottle. And it's almost like you bring an addiction with you into retirement and into your life as you get older. So I just want to encourage y'all, man. I know everybody's situation is different. People got things they're going through, and I'm not here to try to diagnose anybody, man. I'm just here because I once drank, and I drank a lot, and I'm thankful that I stopped drinking and gave my life to God, you know, right before I turned pro. And I would not have been the fighter that I was. I would not have won those big fights that I won if I drank, if I used drugs, if I was a heavy partier. My lifestyle won me a lot of those tough fights. And I'm thankful now that even with me dealing with retirement, been retired, you know, 3 years now, and having to transition to the next phase of my life, I don't have an addiction, or I don't have something like alcohol calling me every day where I go to that to try to replace the high that boxing brought me. So I just want to encourage my brothers, encourage my sisters, you know, fight to put the right things in your body. If you need to get some help to stop drinking, to stop using drugs, and maybe to stop living a certain type of lifestyle, man, reach out, try to get some help, because I want to see as many of you guys as possible whole when you retire. I want to run into y'all. I want people to run into me 10, 15 years from now and say, man, he still looks good, or she still looks good, man. They sound good. That's what we want, y'all.
As a part of Vada, you have access to a wealth of additional resources, information, and expertise. These include Global DRO. Global DRO is a free site that can tell you if your over-the-counter or prescription medication is on the prohibited list. Go to globaldro.com to access this tool. For general questions and to update Vada on travel plans, email info@vada-testing.org or margaret@vada-testing.org. We are here to help and would love to get all of your questions answered. Finally, you have access to a series of informational videos on topics like supplements, concussions, fluid and weight management, and side effects of performance-enhancing drugs. You can access these through Vada's YouTube channel, Vada-Testing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the big day. SMPs at Scout Carolinas. I need a real restoration. This is my makeover right here.
Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improve footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.